The NFL stands for not for long.
Set, Sharga and Armstead. Roll out, Walker still running out. Looks to the left, wide open, Thompson touchdown. Colin Thompson with the touchdown. There was nobody within 20 yards of
What a catch off the bobble. Colin Thompson scoops it up.
Lofting corner, the end zone. It is caught for the touchdown. The first NFL touch for Colin Thompson is a score.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Colin Thompson Show. Hanging out with my good pal, co-host, do it all man, Jack Cano. What's up, Jackie boy?
Nothing much. Just back in the swing of things with work, ramping up for football season. I mean, you know this week better than anybody how it is after 4th of July. Things start ramping up. I think it's like 10 days from now or something. The Ravens rookies report. I think they're the first batch.
Brutal.
So we're not far whatsoever.
I get a great story. I'll tell it now. Didn't plan on telling it. That's why I don't like doing any prep, Jack. So this takes me back. I was with the Chicago Bears 2018, Matt Nagy's first year. I was the sixth of the six tight end on the depth chart. Really good room. And I was planning to join training camp with the vets. I was my second year in the NFL. And I get a call from legendary Soup, Lamar Campbell, Delco finest, and with Seattle Seahawks now, but with the Bears at the time. And I am driving with my wife to the market to pick up some fresh sweet corn and Jersey tomatoes and do one final meal before I go to training camp, right? It's a big thing. That season, we had 5 games, 5 preseason games, and I'm the last tight on the roster. You bet your ass I'm playing in all those games and playing a ton, which sounds awesome, and it's a great opportunity. But man, oh man, you want to talk about fatigue to the highest level. It was the hardest thing ever done in my life. So I'm getting prepared for that. I have like a week left. And Soup calls me and says, I need you in Bourbonnais, Illinois tomorrow, which is about 2 hours south of the Bears facility, hour south of the city, in the middle of nowhere. We need you tomorrow. I'm like, tomorrow? I can't. I have like all these things planned, family, friends, obligations. I had some different personal things I was working on. I can't just go to training camp. Well, what happened was they never let me know before I left that I needed to be there because they thought I was a veteran. Well, really, I didn't have a accredited season. And then until you have a accredited season, you're allowed to be at any rookie minicamp. Well, and we can edit this out, Jack, but maybe we don't have to. Who's the linebacker for the Ravens now? He just slipped my mind.
What, linebacker for the Ravens?
Roquan Smith. Roquan Smith holds out of training camp. Holds out that year.
He's still Raven. I'm big on my linebackers. Continue.
Let me get to the story, Jack. I include you in it, and now I'm booting you out of it again. Roquan Smith is with the Bears, and he's holding out that year because I think it was like a helmet-to-helmet issue or something with the contract. He didn't want to lose salary over. And they signed him, and when he came back, they wanted to have a rookie minicamp before he got there. So I had to fly out 24 hours later after thinking I have another week at home before the longest 7-week training camp. 7 weeks training camp. Brutal. Knowing you're getting cut, which is even worse because I'm not making the team. I just know math-wise the other guys are going to make it unless people get cut. So I went out to Chicago. I said, you got to send me a car. I don't have a car. They picked me up in a town car, dropped me off 1 minute before the team meeting and got there with all the rookies. And I was the old head in the room, I guess, in a little way. And went in there and only tight end for rookie minicamp. One person ran every route. Kevin Gilbride ran all the short routes to give me a breather. I ran all the long routes. It was the hardest thing ever done in my life. 5 preseason games. I had an okay preseason at best. And I was out of the league for about a year or two after that, playing in the AAF and the XFL. So good luck to everyone going to rookie minicamps. It is hot. You sweat a lot. And it is a grind, man, but it is the most rewarding thing in the world. If you can pop out on the other side and be on that 53-man roster, there is no better feeling in the world than grinding and getting on that roster and then being a part of the week-to-week grind of an NFL season. It is so much fun, but it is horrible to go through camp and get cut and then sit on your couch and watch people that you think you're better than play on Sundays. It is brutal, straight depression for me, especially early fall last year when I'm like, man, I played the best football in my life and I still didn't make the team. That was hard. So there's a little bit of the inside scoop why folks may be listening to the show. So I'm Colin Thompson. That's Jack Connell. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Special thanks to our sponsor, the Original Fudge Kitchen. They ship fudge and sweet treats across the country. You know the drill. Everybody always talks about them. I always say to people now, it's the best thing to give to a gift. I talk about it on the show all the time. Give it to a gift from somebody. You know, write a little card and give them a box of fudge. Give them a saltwater taffy. Give them the chocolate-covered pretzels, chocolate-covered strawberries. They have their milk chocolate, the dark chocolate, the ice cream's in the back of all the stores there, coffee, the whole nine. Love the flavors, variety, mint, chocolate, vanilla, peanut butter, Milky Way, awesome fudge. And they ship it around the country, fudgekitchens.com. All right, Jack, where do we want to dive in first? You're the one who wanted to, I said, Jack, maybe you could produce the show, send a list. But what do you want to break down first, Jack? Do you want to talk about your Sixers jerseys? That's a big deal for you. I know you're a big jersey guy. By the way, shout out to Wealth Advisory Services. If you don't know them, you should. The Wealth Advisory Services team sent me that JMU article, Jack. That thing blew up on Twitter. Blew up.
Yeah, I mean, that did blow up. And to make a natural segue, I mean, the Sixers thing I did post blew up. I did not expect the business behind a jersey decision to blow up whatsoever.
The business of sports gets Twitter rolling. It really does. Because there's no really debate. It kind of is what it is.
Yeah. So obviously the big thing was amongst the Sixers world is Tyrese Maxey signed his 5-year max contract for $200+ million with the Sixers, which is obviously a big thank you financially from the Sixers. But they also did something I've never seen a team do before. Even Rich Paul himself said, I've never seen anything like this before. They basically created a mini museum for Tyrese to thank him. And they presented him with a custom black Tyrese Maxey, like Allen Iverson version uniform. Got everybody up in arms because there was also one poster that said, the fans asked, Philly answered, classic edition coming soon, which is the Nike term for the NBA throwbacks. Now, this has been something, it's like Kelly Green with the Eagles and Baby Blue with the Phillies. It's something fans have wanted for multiple decades. President at the time, Chris Heck, he's now the president of Aston Villa. I mean, I respect people's decisions and stuff, but from a president's perspective, I don't really say as much. I think this was one of the biggest bonehead decisions I've ever seen. And I don't say that lightly. How I don't really like to negatively talk people here. Chris Heck openly said, stop it. Chris Heck had publicly said in an interview with UniWatch back in 2020 when they had those boathouse rows, the black jerseys and the red and blue, that he hated. And I'm not like over exaggerating. He straight up said that he hated the Allen Iverson color schemes. And he thought it stepped away from the red, white, and blue. Your friend Pat Croce is actually the person who created these. Did you know that?
I did not.
Yes. Well, he didn't create the exact logo, but the way it went about is he saw the Harley Davidson design and he liked the black and the orange and those colors. And he thought it was strong, badass, so sense that he hired a designer to go out and make a logo resembling that. So that is why they made the switch. It was all Pat's idea. So obviously they made a switch, and then 10 or so years later, they switched back to the ones they have now. Chris Heck denounced these and refused to ever bring them back. Now, whether you like them or not, I personally, in the grand scheme of things, I don't think they're a great jersey. I understand the appeal. They are nostalgic. I completely understand it. But that is a cash cow waiting to happen. Do you know, like, people be lining up and down the block. If your entire fan base is screaming at you to bring us these jerseys, they're going to buy them. Whether you like it or not, you can't do wrong if it's a throwback edition jersey.
It will definitely come out. It's going to come out in the next year or so.
Well, yes, but I'm talking about in past. Like when Chris Heck was president, he was president for like 6-7 years, and he refused. And they probably would have came out in 2020, 2021 for the 20th anniversary of that finals team. They are now coming out per things I have heard and things that make most sense. People I've talked to. Next season, they're coming out in matching with the 25th anniversary, but also Chris Heck stepped down from the team in 2022. NBA and most teams, they take 2 years ahead with their jersey planning process between just the overall turnaround time for making the products for fans and stuff alongside the design process and everything. So Heck's oversight of uniforms stopped this past season, meaning it opens the door for new uniforms. And I think it was too quick of a turnaround. And I think it's a much easier sell and an easier promotion. Say 25th anniversary of the Allen Iverson Finals MVP season. We bring you these back. So that is the interesting business of sports and something fans can look forward to next season.
Brought to you by Wealth Advisory Services, wealthadvisoryservices.com. Yeah, no doubt. The business of sports stuff's fantastic. The JMU thing was very interesting, and that blew up from comments. And then people saying, well, what if you don't like sports? And the whole thing was like, that's true. But all the in-state people were saying like, dude, the tuition's like the cheapest school in the entire state. And you don't even feel it. It's not even a thing, but your resume is more recognizable based off of sports, whether you're a sports fan or not. That's what has blew me away. That's what Paul Krumenacker and I have talked about. It's genius. If you are not a big football school, you should be doing this, because the big football schools, name them, they all have great quote unquote education. You're telling me other schools don't offer a great education too? Notre Dame, USC, Miami, Florida, Penn State, Michigan, they're all considered great educations. People think Miami's bad because of the bad boy. Miami's one of the best like private schools in the country. It's like $60,000 a year. So like, well, they're football based. Like, oh, Alabama, not that great. Are you kidding me? Like they employ half of the South is employed by Alabama people. A&M, kid, like they're all big football schools. It's not about the football, folks. It's about marketing and dollars, like Jack's talking about with that jersey. It's not about the jersey, but it's about, the camaraderie, the bang for your buck, all the different things that come with going to a game and it's getting a jersey and all those great things. So it's good stuff out of you, Jack. Very good stuff. I want to touch on one thing here before we do that. I want to talk about our friends at Boiron, Arnicare, natural homeopathic way to cure your pain, your illness, natural, not take a, something before bed like we've all taken, like a NyQuil, and you get up the next day and you feel like crap. This stuff is natural stuff. I've used it for hand pain relief after lifts and my hands are sore. After, I've chopped wood, Jack, on my hands from the weed whacker. They're vibrating, still from doing that. I know you're a big, outdoorsman yourself. The hand cream's fantastic. The sore throat stuff, killer. I like to go out, have a couple beers, hoot and holler, have a good time. Clear. Love it. Just a little dissolvable pill. Check them out. Boiron USA, Arnicare, fantastic product. Been around forever. Not a splash in the pan. Check them out. BoironUSA.com. Dan Hurley has officially agreed to a 6-year, $50 million deal with UConn. This is prime example, number one, of you take the interview, you win back-to-back national championships, or was it back-to-back they won?
Yeah, they won back-to-back national championships.
Prime example, number one, when you take the interview, you win back-to-back national championships. You just negotiated a new deal for yourself. You take another interview with the biggest basketball franchise, arguably, in the history of sports. One of the biggest sports franchises in the world, the Los Angeles Lakers. They can't come to an agreement. He's staying in the Northeast. His family's there. It's a great contract. What's his agent do? Call UConn back up. Hey, listen, get it close to what it was for the Lakers. I believe he was getting $8 million a year for the Lakers, right?
It was, it would have been about a little north of 8. It would have put him about the 5th highest paid coach in the NBA.
So now he's making that money. This year he'll make 7.8. He'll make 8 million, 8.2. He'll make, it's going to go up 200,000 every year all the way through 2030. Guess what? If he wins again, he'll renegotiate. That's how it goes. Doesn't cost against the salary cap, doesn't cost against NIL. And again, sports are the number one recruiter for the school. That's what the school is for. Education. Use sports to do it. That is a $8 million budget for marketing for the school. That's what that is. They're going to keep winning. That UConn Husky is going to be on every TV in March, and everyone's going to be throwing out their bracket. UConn. So I was enamored by that. It was really good. I was never forget. I was at Temple. Coach Rule, after the first year I was there, we won 6 games, 6-6. The first year I wasn't there yet. They won 2 games. The next year they won 6 games. The next year we won 10 games. Sorry, I'm all off in the pattern there. And then the next year we won 10 games. But the third year in the process for Coach Rule, he got an interview with Missouri, who ended up being the AD at Baylor, who gave him the job later on. But he took the interview. They're private planes leaving Philly airport. It was a whole thing. Never forget it. Well, he took the interview and he came back to Temple. He said, I'm not taking the job at Missouri. I'm not taking it. But what you do is you go back and you get your assistants paid, and then you renegotiate a deal, right? You have leverage because I'm getting these offers. I want it. It's really for your assistants. What do you think Dan Hurley's assistants are getting now? What do you think Dan did when he went into there? He said, I want these guys to be the highest paid assistants in college basketball. They are thanking God that he got that Lakers interview. So everyone made a big deal about that and all that stuff. It ain't no big deal. It ain't no big deal. It's just a little business. So, Jack, you want to talk about the controversy of these guys playing for different teams? I agree. Embiid is not from the United States of America. Now, he did grow up here. He's from Gainesville, played a little high school basketball down there in Gainesville, Florida. I don't know how you missed on him, but he's playing for USA. Kind of funky. Excited for the Olympics, by the way, Jack. It's going to be fun.
Yeah. So I'm going to take the opposite stance of you here. So the big thing, Joel Embiid, is there's 3 countries people say Embiid should be playing for: Cameroon, United States, or France. France.
Where was he born?
He was born in Cameroon, but let me tell you, let me give you a little history about Cameroonian national basketball. They are not your run-of-the-mill national basketball team. I'm not talking because they're not well-funded, small team. They are extremely corrupt. This is something that's been known for a while. They are not properly run. I don't know the exact stories, but I have seen it before. This is before the Embiid USA. It's a very corrupt organization, and it's not like Jose Alvarado playing for, I think he's Puerto Rico or one of those teams, and then like Giannis in Greece. It's different. Those are like legitimate great basketball programs. Cameroon basically doesn't even have one. That's just the simplest way to put it. He would be wasting his time. Like, it's
all right. So France, no?
He was never born in France. All he does is speak French, because like that's just like he was just grew up knowing French. So he never had any French, and he grew up in the United States. He has a citizenship in the United States. He's been here for now half his life. His wife's from the United States. His kid's American born. Yeah, no, that's about right. He came over like sophomore year of high school, like 15 years old. He's about 30. So yeah, it's about half his life, maybe a little bit more or less.
He's my age. No, I agree with you. For those,
but the other thing is, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to agree.
But there's the flip of the coin that people say Embiid should not be playing for America, but then you get Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving, born in Australia, plays for United States. Not this year, but in years prior. Nobody cared because Kyrie, but because Embiid is such this polarizing figure because of everything he is as a player, for better, for worse, with his fouls, his personality.
No, it's not that. It's because of his accent. Kyrie sounds like a kid from Jersey, and Embiid does not sound like a kid from the United States of America. Is that fair?
Yeah, I could say that. But at the end of the day, also, like, Kyrie grew up there, but again, sort of same situation as Embiid, where he spent more than half his life here, but Australia has arguably the 3rd, 4th, 5th best basketball program in the world.
Yeah. I think it's pure accent, Jack. If Embiid had, like, Brett Brown, right? He's got that kind of little accent from coaching in Australia for all those years. But, like, Ben Simmons, Australia, right?
Yeah, he is. Melbourne.
Yeah. So, like, Ben has that American accent like you would never know. So I think it's purely accent-based. And Embiid is polarizing, but so was Kyrie. I mean, you could argue in Kyrie's day, just as big, top 5 player in the league. He still is extremely good. Pretty cool to see his development as a leader and those things turn around. And oh my God, people can improve between the age of 25 and 30. Oh my God. Holy cow. What a big deal that is. He's a leader with the Mavs and he learned from LeBron. Yeah, probably. That whole thing with the Bronny situation too. Yeah, whatever. At the end of the day, what a success story. We've talked about it on here. Like, you hear LeBron too talk about his son. Like, that guy's tough as nails, the way he's explaining his kid. You know how hard it is to follow up your dad and make it? I think Jordan's son only played like for Marquette, right? He only played for like.
Yeah, it was I think like UCF, maybe. Both his sons were on. Both his sons spent a year on the same team. Yeah.
So, but like, talk about toughness, man. Super impressive, and congrats to the James family. I'm going to take the family approach to it. I don't the nepotism thing, whatever. It's freaking business, man. It's called business. And the Lakers made a business decision, drafted him, and guess what? He'll probably develop into a bench player in the NBA, and that's what the 2nd round pick's for, right? I mean, few guys that really make it out and become stars. I think we thought it was like 7% become an all-star. So where do the rest of the 93% go? Overseas, maybe another 30% of them become bench players. So supposedly the kid works his ass off and plays video games, and he's extremely focused. So respect there. I could care less about their other drama. All right, Jack, I want to jump into the NFL stuff here real quick. Around the NFL was being dissolved. You talked about that. Anything you want to touch on there? I know that was a really good show. They'll be back. That stuff always comes back around, man. My opinion, if you're a great show, they'll always find a way. EA Sports, college football, you're going to be doing a lot of that. I'm sure you're jacked up for that, huh? When's that come out? Pretty soon, right?
Yeah, so early access, if you pay $30 extra, early access is the 16th, which I'll explain to you, I am probably going to do, but it's a unique circumstance for me. I almost never pre-order games, let alone buy games.
I have a lot of free time. and I got to go play it.
Yeah, exactly.
Free
And,
time
I
before you
mean,
work your ass off because
but
in
the
August
thing
you're done.
but the thing that's so unique about this is, first off, it's obviously the first college football game in 11 years. I have not played like a single online league game, whatever, with people in like 5 years. I play by myself, like if I even have that time, play like franchise mode and stuff in 2K. I've already within like an hour of talking to someone, there's already a dynasty mode of 10 of us already set on college football. I've claimed
There-
Marshall.
There's your
But it's
social life right there. You got to check. You're good.
exactly. But like, but it's fun because like everybody can only claim 1 to 2 star programs, and I think I don't know what conference, but I've already claimed Marshall, so that's the team I'm excited. I picked it purely off color scheme and logo and uniform.
Great mascot, great town. I want to go to that town one day. Yeah, no, it's a great game. I miss those days playing video games. I never was too much into it, but I did in high school, man. I loved it, and college I loved it, and I think probably as a player I would have been healthier if that was my instead of traveling, eating, drinking, doing the whole nine. I probably would have been a healthier player, maybe had a better career if I just sat inside and played video games. It was antisocial, but that's not me. It never will be me, and that's okay. All right, Jack. Again, shout out to our friends at Arnicare, BoironUSA.com, and the Fudge Kitchen, FudgeKitchens.com. Let's talk off-season additions. We've talked about a few different divisions. We're going to keep it moving, keep kicking it around. I think it's a fun talk. It's funny. I had a reporter one time like, "You love talking about the niche things." I'm like, "Yeah, because that's where the gold is. You don't need me to talk about like, let me rank my top 5 NFL quarterbacks, boom, and like put some egregious guy in at 4 and be like, this guy's clueless, and then get a bunch of comments, and the video takes off, and then I just don't do it. I just can't do it. People think my takes about Sam Darnold and all that are hot. No, I was talking to someone in the Viking organization, and they're like, he looks awesome. I'm like, yeah, he's a great player. He will be successful if he gets a chance there, right? Like my hot takes about C-Mac being the best player in the NFL. He's the best player in the NFL. I'm sorry. I saw it every day and was like, holy shit. Now, I've never played with Trent Williams. I heard he's unreal, but he's also 36 or whatever Trent is. He's older, right? This isn't Trent in his prime anymore. So neither here nor there. Jack in the back. Let's talk AFC North, the baddest division in football. Biggest, baddest, physical, cold weather, all outdoor stadiums. A lot of them play on grass, right? It's just like blue collar cities. We'll start with the Ravens. Listen, additions, Derrick Henry, right? This guy is in great shape. This guy will age very slowly as a player, even though he's a big back that's taking a lot of hits. He takes extremely good care of his body. You've seen all the workout videos. I love what the Ravens doing, saying, listen, we're going to go all in. We're going to pay an older running back, an uncharacteristic thing for the Ravens, and we're going to pay an older running back a bunch of money and say, this is what we got to do to make our offense really potent. The combination of right up the middle, their O-line, Ricard, Andrews, Likely, the backs with Lamar is a really fun one with the jet sweeps and all that with Zay Jones. I love that for the Ravens. Browns, bringing in Jerry Jeudy. We've talked about their receiver room being one of the best in the NFL. They add to that. Absolutely love that deal. I love bringing in Jameis Winston. You're going to need a backup, and they brought in Huntley from the Ravens. I love that too, right? You don't know what's going on with Watson. Hopefully Watson has that great year this year. Deontay Foreman, I played with Carolina. He was great in Houston. He was great in Tennessee. He was great for us in Carolina. He was great in Chicago when he got the ball. It's not always the prettiest, but the boy runs hard. The man runs hard. And he's a great player. And I think also a good buddy of mine, Gio Ricci, he's like an H-back type guy. He's in Cleveland now. I could see him getting the mix in the tight end room, doing some fun stuff. Steelers, Patrick Queen, right? Everyone's like, oh, Roquan, that's why he's good. That's what everyone keeps saying in Baltimore. Well, no, he just became more of a veteran seasoned player. Roquan, yes, of course, helps him become a better player, of course. But Roquan has a lot of success too because he plays next to Pat Queen. I think Pat Queen's a really shady good addition for the Steelers and a linebacker, really, organization that has great linebackers. The Fields and Russell thing, how they're going to use those two, very interesting to see that. But you make your quarterback room better with those two, even though I'm still a Kenny Pickett fan. I think he's going to be a great backup for the Eagles. Cordell Patterson too, massive. The return game is going to matter this year. It will matter. He will be a core piece of the return game and a great, great addition for the Steelers and have major impact on offense as a running back, a receiver, as well as in the return game. And then the last team for me in the AFC North, the Bengals. There's 2 players they bought in that are going to make them Super Bowl contenders. One, Trent Brown. The guy's an absolute monster. Great in pass pro. He could have a huge year if he comes ready to play this year. And 2, and I think one of the biggest studs and quietest moves one could make is Mike Gesicki. He had a quiet year in New England last year. This guy is an absolute stud athletically. They already have great wide receivers. Add him at the tight end position in the slot, jump ball. They're going to use him like a wideout. The guy's going to light it up for the Bengals. They're an offensive-minded organization. I love Gesicki. Sleeper for your fantasy team. He's going to have a great year for the Bengals. Jack, who you got, AFC North?
Yeah, so AFC North, some of the guys you really didn't touch on a whole lot. I mean, not in addition, but bring back Arthur Millette, the slot corner for them. I think that's a big move for them. I think that's somebody that they were sort of going to be missing if he departed. Somebody I had mentioned before, we were talking about returners, is the 5th-round pick, Rasheen Ali out of Marshall. He's somebody Emery Hunt on our College Draft podcast compared to Raheem Mostert. I think he's somebody you could sneakily see in the return game for them, and I think he'd be a really great addition. Devin Leary, I know out of Kentucky, is somebody people have talked about as a decent quarterback, and obviously with Snoop Huntley going to Cleveland, I think that's somebody that could be a solid backup for them. Going forward next, we have the Bengals. Free agency-wise, nobody really stood out to me from the big ones. I think the biggest is draft pick, third-round pick, Jermaine Burton out Alabama. I think that Bengals room has so many solid guys between Yossi and then him. But, I mean, you could be seeing the departure, not this season because he signed his franchise tag, but next season of T. Higgins, needing a guy to step up. I think Jermaine Burton could be that. And I think that's a big person to bring in, especially you're going to be paying these big bucks to Jamar Chase. You're going to have to work on some lower salary guys. So I think that's somebody big for them. For the Browns, I mean, there's a bunch of guys you had mentioned. I mean, they bring back Mo Hurst and D-line for depth. I think that's good. Jerry Jeudy, somebody you talked about. Nobody really stood out to me from their draft class. I mean, Zach Zinter is a solid guard. I don't think he's going to start for them right away. And then obviously,
very good line.
And then, I mean, they're quarterback depth. I mean, having Snoop Huntley as your third quarterback, I think is incredible behind Jameis and Deshaun Watson and a bunch of guys you already hit on between Foreman and Jeudy and whatnot. And then you go to the Steelers. I think the biggest thing is something I mentioned before is just going to be bringing in Cordell Patterson and Quez Watkins is going to make your return game, I just think, absolutely killer. I think
that's how Tomlin's built it, right? Like, we're going to do it the right way. We're going to care about special. They've always had great special teams players. Medikevich was there. Spellman, I think his name was, the Western Michigan guy, right? Like, they always had great returners. Like, they always find that's how Antonio Brown got to him. He was a returner. He was an electric returner. It's a shame what happened to that guy. That guy was great. That guy is one of the probably most underrated players in NFL history. He did it to himself. Now he's nuts on Twitter. But that's here. Great follow. All right,
and
Jack.
then, sorry.
No, who
I was going to say the other player is going to be former Panther Dante Jackson. I think he's going to be a standout corner for them. They got him for Deontay in that trade earlier this offseason. So
I left him off the list. I shouldn't have left him off the list. Dante Jackson, great addition to the Steelers. If he could stay healthy, and I hate when people say that, if he could stay healthy, but I mean it from the fact that Dante's been riddled with some injuries, lower body stuff. He is so light on his feet. He is so tough. New Orleans tough. And he's a great guy. Great dad. Huge Dante Jackson fan. Massive Dante Jackson fan. All right, NFC North. Let's talk about it. I mean, this division, the NFL is stronger than it's ever been. Really, Jack. Like, you're going through these lists. You're like, damn, there's like 4 or 5 guys here. Lions. Love what the Lions did, right? They lost some players in free agency. They've also signed some key players back to their team. They brought Zeitler over from the Ravens. He's a beast inside. Brought Glasgow too. DJ Reader, Davenport. If he was healthy for the Vikings last year, watch out. They would have been on. I think he was a key piece to them defensively early on, struggling. Davenport is a monster of a man, and he fits perfectly what they're doing. That group right there, 2 O linemen, 2 D linemen, pretty solid. Packers, Josh Jacobs. The Packers are quiet in free agency, right? Green Bay's a tough place to get people, but they draft well. They keep their players. They re-sign guys. Love Josh Jacobs, underrated player in the league, looking to get paid. So, he signed an extension, but he signed a little bit of a deal. But he's a guy who's out to prove some stuff, similar to like a Saquon. A step below probably is a player right below. Pretty damn close, though. Great player, great story. Vikings. My main takeaway from the Vikings was they added depth. When you don't sign Kirk Cousins, and you don't sign Daniil Hunter, there's a lot of cash available. Now they pay down the line, they extended JJ, right, for a ton of money. But Aaron Jones, they had some fumbling issues last year at running back. Aaron Jones, a great player, really good player, and knows the division really well, knows the Packers well. So I love that signing. Add a lot of depth defensively. They lost both edge guys. They brought that. And then, listen, I've said it before, Sam Darnold, if you could be in a room with Sam Darnold as your second or third string quarterback, you're in a really good spot. What's his name now? Josh McCown is there now as a quarterback coach. I like that for JJ McCarthy's growth. And then like the Houston Texans, like they did 2 first-round picks. You could draft 2 guys in the first round. You could change your organization around in a second. Add in first-class organization, the Vikings, with Turner and JJ going in the first round, big fans. And then lastly for me, Bears. Offensively alone, you had DeAndre Swift, you had Everett at tight end, and you had Keenan Allen, along with Oduze in the first round, top 10. You're cooking. I'm excited to see the Bears this year. Jack, there's not a team in the NFL this year I'm not excited to watch. Seriously, if you really think about it. Like you could talk yourself up to watch everything, and then I like Byard on the defense for the Bears. Came over at a tough spot for the Eagles. Aging safety, but I like Kev. He's a good guy. I was with him in NFL Media Boot Camp. He's got it down. He'll be ready to go this year for the Bears. Love the team. There's not a team in that division I wouldn't turn my TV on and say, I'm going to watch this Thursday night game. You could talk about every division. Even I'm thinking, okay, Denver, there's reason to turn on Denver. Sean Payton's second year, new quarterback, how they're going, right? Jacksonville's not everybody and no disrespect to those franchises, but these are franchises that have been kind of slumping, right? Not so much Jacks, but I'm excited for the league this year, Jack. Really am.
Yeah, I mean, I am too. I mean, look at this Bears team. I feel like you hit on everybody. I don't know if there's really too many mid-tier under the radar guys. I mean, Matt Pryor is somebody I liked in Philly. I think he did really good in Indy too, as far as I remember, as like a glue guy. I didn't really get a chance
he's
to
like
follow
you're
him
good.
much too
He
much.
could start for you. They also brought in Ryan Bates, our boy. I should add Ryan in there. So they're adding some good borderline starters. Ryan started in this league, and so did Matt, right? So guys that can start and come off and play different positions. It's a great call with Matt Pryor.
Yeah, and I mean, their offensive lines, their starting O-line is incredibly great to begin with. So having these guys as depth pieces, I think, is incredible. Or 6-man rotational guys, stuff like that. The Detroit Lions, I mean, going through, the Lions were a lot of just bringing back their own guys. I think getting DJ Reader is a really good defensive lineman. I mean, the deal they got him for was really not expensive at all, $27 million. I think over 2 years, that is. I think that's a really good pickup. Their draft picks, I mean, nobody really stood out to me. I mean, Ennis Rakestraw is somebody that people talked about a lot, and pair him with Terry and Arnold, who they took in the first round, really solidify that secondary. I think that's something that's going to be terrifying for opposing teams. Again, Green Bay, sort of similar boat. I mean, they had the big signings of McKinney and Josh Jacobs. I mean, but just between guys, I think the biggest was 7th round pick, Kalen King. Kalen King this time last year was somebody they talked about as a first round pick. There's a reason he fell to the 7th round. I don't know what that is, but that's going to be interesting. I mean, that's a very buy low type, low risk, high reward type of selection there. And then you go to the Minnesota Vikings. Somebody I really like, and I think is a really good special teamer. On the other side is Camu Grugier-Hill, somebody who I really liked in Philadelphia and Miami. I think that's somebody. Great
point, Jack. And he'll be a teamer, and he'll be another depth piece, like we talked about defensively.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, I absolutely agree. And I think they really knocked it out of the park on the draft. I mean, just getting Dallas Turner, 17th pick. I mean, I think he was the first defensive player taken off the board. If I remember correctly, or the latest second. So, I mean, just getting him at 17 alone, I think is just incredible value for this team. And like you said, you replace him. I mean, put him on the edge as your new starting edge. I think that's going to be a great move for them. A lot of sort of mid-tier. I mean, Tunyon, who's now completed his NFC North World Tour. I believe he has been on the practice squad or active roster of all 4 NFC North teams, which is awesome to see. Jahad Ward, local guy. I think that's going to be something really good too. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all I have for the Vikings.
I love it. Jahad's been an edge guy, Wink Markindale, cover 0 type guy, blitz, dropping the coverage. It's interesting. This Vikings situation with JJ and Sam's going to be interesting and more competitive than people think. So, all right, Jackie, good stuff, man. Hope everyone enjoyed it. Stay tuned. We're going to start banking some interviews. I'm about to pop out a kid here in the coming weeks, so some things are going to be changing, but I appreciate it. We'll still be pumping out interviews. I will not be stopping. This train cannot be stopped, Jack. All right, guys. Thanks to BoironUSA.com and our friends over at the Original Fudge Kitchen. Hope everyone has an awesome rest of the week. Enjoy.